God says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul." This message did not come to you by accident, and it did not arrive at a random time. There are moments when heaven gently leans toward earth, when the veil between worlds feels thinner, and when love speaks without words. This is one of those moments. Right now, as you are hearing this, something deeply personal is unfolding around you. It is quiet, it is sacred, and it is filled with a love that has never left you, not even for a second. There is a presence near you that feels familiar, warm, and comforting. It is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to remind you. A soul who means everything to you, someone whose love shaped your heart, whose voice still echoes in your memories, is aware of you right now. Love does not disappear when someone leaves this world. Love transforms. Love watches. Love waits for the right moment to whisper peace back into your life. You may have felt this recently without understanding it. A sudden memory. A dream that felt more real than usual. A wave of emotion that came from nowhere. A sense that someone was near, even though no one was there. These are not coincidences. These are gentle touches of remembrance. Heaven allows love to move in ways the mind cannot explain, but the soul immediately recognizes. God says, "I have seen the weight you carry quietly. I have seen the moments when you wished you could speak to them one more time, ask one more question, or simply feel their presence again. Nothing you felt was ignored. Nothing you whispered in silence went unheard. There are connections so deep that even time cannot break them. And when heaven allows such a connection to stir, it is always for healing, never for fear. Your loved one is not reaching out with sadness. They are reaching out with reassurance. With peace. With a message that your heart is ready to receive now, not earlier, not later. The timing matters because you are standing at an emotional crossroads. You have been stronger than you realize, but even strong souls need comfort. Even brave hearts need reminders that they are not alone. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of these sacred moments. Not as a bearer of alarms, but as a protector of truth and calm. His presence brings clarity, not confusion. He ensures that what reaches you does so gently, without overwhelming your spirit. This is not about urgency meant to scare you. It is about alignment, a moment where your heart is open enough to feel what has always been there. Your loved one knows what you have been facing lately. The questions you haven't spoken out loud. The emotional weight you smile through. The decisions you've been carrying silently. Love does not lose awareness beyond this world. It becomes clearer. It becomes purer. And from that clarity comes a quiet desire: let them know I am at peace. Let them know they are guided. Let them know they are loved. God says, I allowed this message to reach you now because your heart is strong enough to receive comfort without pain. Earlier, it might have reopened wounds. Now, it can begin to heal them. This is how divine timing works. It waits until love can land softly instead of hurting deeply. Take a breath. Slowly. Notice what you feel in your chest right now. That warmth, that stillness. That emotional pause, this is your soul responding, not your imagination. The soul always recognizes truth before the mind catches up. You are not being asked to do anything. You are simply being invited to receive. This message is not about loss. It is about continuity. Love continues. Guidance continues. Connection continues. And right now, heaven is allowing you to feel that continuity in a way that brings peace instead of longing. Your loved one does not want tears from you. They want you to live lighter, freer, and without guilt for moving forward. God says, you are allowed to smile again. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to step into new seasons without feeling like you are leaving anyone behind. Nothing true is ever lost. It's simply, they were here. Words that stayed in your chest because time moved too fast or life became too complicated. Heaven remembers those unsaid words. Love remembers them. And now, without language, without sound, without form, those words are finally being understood. This is why your heart feels heavier and lighter at the same time. Something unresolved is slowly settling into peace. You may wonder why this moment feels different from simple memory. Memories usually ache. This feels warm. Memories pull you backward. This feels like it is gently guiding you forward. That is because this is not about the past. This is about reassurance. Your loved one is not holding you in yesterday. They are standing with you now, encouraging you to keep living fully, freely, and without fear of forgetting. True love never competes with your future. God says, they have seen your strength when no one else did. They have seen the times you held yourself together for others. The moments you chose responsibility over rest. The days you smiled even when your heart was tired. Love does not stop observing when it leaves the physical world. It becomes more attentive, more understanding, more gentle. You have not disappointed them. You have not failed them. You have not moved too slowly or too fast. Every step you took was seen with compassion. Even your confusion was understood. Heaven does not judge the pace of healing. It honors the effort to keep going. There is something important your loved one wants you to feel deeply: they are at peace. Not distant peace, not cold peace, but a calm, settled peace that carries gratitude. Gratitude for the love you shared. Gratitude for the memories that shaped both of you. Gratitude for the way you continue to carry their influence in your words, your choices, and your kindness. They are not restless. They are not longing. They are complete. Archangel Michael remains present not as a messenger of urgency, but as a keeper of balance. He ensures that what reaches you does not overwhelm your emotions. He protects your heart from misunderstanding spiritual closeness as loss returning. This moment is not meant to reopen wounds. It is meant to close them gently, with understanding rather than shock. You may notice that your fear of losing people has softened recently. Or that you are learning to let go without panic. This is not accidental. Your loved one has been quietly supporting your emotional growth. Love does not cling. Love teaches how to release without breaking. Heaven allows this support because your soul is ready to mature into peace. God says, you are allowed to build new connections without guilt. You are allowed to experience joy again without apology. Loving the present does not erase the past. It honors it. Your loved one does not want to be remembered through sadness. They want to be remembered through the way you live more openly, more kindly, more honestly. There is also something you have been sensing but not fully trusting, a quiet guidance in your decisions. Moments when something told you to wait, or to choose differently, or to protect your energy. That guidance did not come from fear. It came from care. Love often becomes guidance when words are no longer possible. You have been protected in ways you will only understand later. Situations that did not progress. Paths that quietly closed. People who faded out of your life without drama. These were not losses. They were gentle redirections. Your loved one understands what you cannot yet see, and heaven allowed their awareness to support you during uncertain seasons. God says, nothing that truly belongs to you will pass you by. Not love. Not purpose. Not peace. And certainly not connection. The bond you shared has not turned into absence. It has turned into silent encouragement. The kind that strengthens instead of weakens. As you stay with this message, notice how your breathing slows. How your chest feels less tight. How your thoughts are no longer racing. This is not emotional manipulation. This is resonance. Truth always brings calm before it brings understanding. Your soul is recognizing something ancient and familiar. This message continues not because time is running out, but because understanding is still unfolding. There is more comfort waiting, and it will come gently, exactly as your heart can receive it. Stay present. Not out of fear. Not out of pressure. But out of love that still knows your name. God says, stay with me a little longer, my beloved soul, because what is unfolding now is not meant to rush past your heart. Some messages arrive loudly, but this one arrives like a slow sunrise, quietly filling the space you didn't realize was still empty. Your loved one is not pulling you backward into grief, they are gently walking beside you as you learn how to move forward with softness instead of strength alone. There is a reason you have been reflecting more deeply lately. Memories have surfaced not to hurt you, but to be re-understood. You are no longer the same person who lived those moments. You see them now with maturity, with compassion, with forgiveness for yourself and for others. Heaven allows this reflection because healing is not forgetting, healing is understanding without pain attached. God says, they see how much you have grown. They see the parts of you that learned patience the hard way. They see the wisdom that came from loss. They see how your heart became quieter, deeper, more selective with where it gives love. This growth is not unnoticed. It is honored. It is cherished. You may have felt moments of sudden calm without knowing why. Times when anxiety softened for no clear reason. Times when you felt watched over without feeling watched. That calm was not random. It was reassurance. Love, when freed from the physical world, does not disappear, it refines itself into presence. Your loved one wants you to understand something important: they are not holding on to your pain. They are not replaying your last conversation. They are not counting what went unsaid. Those things only weigh the living. In heaven, love is complete. It understands without explanation. It forgives without discussion. It remembers without suffering. God says, release yourself from silent guilt. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be real. Whatever you believe you could have done differently has already been embraced with grace. You are not being measured by moments you regret. You are being valued for the love you gave while you could. There is also something your loved one wants you to carry forward, not as responsibility, but as legacy. The kindness you show strangers. The way you protect people you care about. The sensitivity you have towards suffering. These traits did not appear by accident. They were shaped through shared love. When you live with these qualities, you are not replacing them, you are honoring them. You may notice that your heart now seeks depth instead of noise. You prefer meaning over attention. Peace over drama. This is not withdrawal. This is alignment. Heaven gently guides souls toward quieter strength once they are ready to live without chaos as proof of importance. God says, you are allowed to be gentle now. Strength does not always look like endurance. Sometimes strength looks like rest. Like saying no without explanation. Like choosing environments that feel safe instead of impressive. Your loved one is not proud of how much you carry, they are proud of how wisely you are learning to put things down. There is also reassurance being offered to you about the future. You do not need to worry that love will leave you again in the same way. Every connection has its own shape and purpose. Loss does not repeat as punishment. It transforms into discernment. You are not destined for repeated heartbreak, you are being shaped for deeper, steadier bonds. Heaven knows that part of you still fears sudden separation. That fear is understandable, but it is not prophetic. It is simply the echo of care. God says, I will not use love to wound you again. What is coming into your life will come with balance, with mutual presence, with emotional safety. As this message continues, notice how your mind is no longer searching for signs. No longer asking for proof. Truth does not demand urgency. It settles. It feels steady. If your heart feels calmer instead of excited, that is how you know this is real. Divine reassurance never overwhelms, it grounds. Your loved one is not asking you to stay here, frozen in emotion. They are asking you to live fully, to laugh without hesitation, to build without fear of losing what you build. They do not want to be remembered as the reason you stopped. They want to be remembered as the reason you learned how to keep going with grace. God says, nothing about this connection is fragile. It does not need protection through sadness. It does not need secrecy through silence. It lives securely within you, untouched by time. You can carry it lightly now. Stay present with this feeling. Not to hold on, but to finally let peace settle where questions once lived. This message is still unfolding, gently, patiently, exactly at the pace your heart can handle. God says, now listen with a heart that is no longer trembling, because what remains is not sorrow, not urgency, not fear, but understanding. You were brought through this message not to be shaken, but to be settled. Not to reopen wounds, but to finally let them rest. The presence you have been feeling is not here to hold you back. It is here to release you forward. Your loved one wants you to know this clearly, without confusion or heaviness. They are at peace. Not a fragile peace, not a quiet sadness disguised as calm, but a complete peace that does not worry, does not ache, does not linger in regret. And because they are at peace, they no longer want you to carry the weight you once carried on their behalf. God says, you do not honor love by suffering forever. You honor love by living well. There were moments in your life when you felt like moving forward meant leaving something sacred behind. But heaven never asked you to pause your life in exchange for memory. Love was never meant to trap you in time. Love was meant to teach you how to walk through time with grace. You are allowed to smile again without explaining why. You are allowed to build new dreams without feeling disloyal. You are allowed to receive happiness without checking if it is temporary. Your loved one does not measure closeness by tears. They measure it by the way your heart has softened instead of hardened. By the way you now understand pain in others. By the way you protect peace like something precious. These are the signs that love did not end, it evolved. God says, what you lost did not disappear. It transformed. It transformed into wisdom. Into patience. Into discernment. Into emotional depth that cannot be taught any other way. This is why your life is entering a calmer season. Not empty, not dull, but steady. The chaos you survived is not following you forward. The lessons are coming with you, but the suffering is not. Heaven separates the two when the time is right. There is something important being sealed in you now, closure without distance. You do not need to keep revisiting moments to feel connected. You do not need signs to confirm presence. What was real remains real, even when it no longer needs to be proven. God says, I am placing peace where questions once lived. And peace does not rush. Peace does not shout. Peace does not beg for attention. Peace simply stays. As this message reaches its end, notice how there is no urgency left in your chest. No pressure to act. No need to hold on tightly. That is how divine truth feels when it completes its purpose. It leaves you grounded, not restless. Your loved one's role now is not to pull you back into memory, but to quietly stand behind you as you step into what is next. They are not ahead of you calling you upward. They are behind you, supporting your forward movement, proud of how you continue. God says, you are not walking alone, but you are meant to walk freely. The next chapter of your life is not about loss. It is about balance. About choosing people who feel safe. About building things that last. About giving love without fear that it will always be taken away. Heaven is not preparing another goodbye for you. Heaven is preparing stability. You may not notice the shift immediately, but soon you will realize that the heaviness you once woke up with is gone. That certain thoughts no longer repeat. That peace arrives faster when you need it. That is how you will know this message completed its work. Before this moment passes, receive this final reassurance. You did not miss anything. You did not fail anyone. You were never late. And you were always loved, fully, eternally, without conditions. God says, now live. If this message brought calm to your heart, like this video so peace reaches others who need it. If it reminded you that love never truly leaves, share it with someone who may be carrying quiet grief. If it spoke to your soul, comment one word that describes how you feel right now. And if you want more messages that heal, guide, and bring clarity, subscribe to this channel. You are always welcome here.